For all the big talk that Republicans and the Trump administration like to flap about working people, if you actually listen carefully, every once in a while they let the mask slip about what they actually think about us. You know, just last week, President Trump's lawyer, her name is Alina Habba, she went on television, and when she actually had to be faced with explaining her job, and when she actually had to be faced with doing her job, this is what she had to say. Quote, what intellectual thought, when she was asked about me, quote, what intellectual thought? You were in a bar, AOC, and not to have a drink, but to serve one. And I want you all to understand, I don't care what this woman says about me, but I want you to understand that she isn't just talking about me here. She's talking about you. She's talking about all of us. Because the entire job of the president's lawyer is to speak for him. Trump hired her to speak for him. So imagine what it means for our country that the president's own lawyer cannot even conceive of a working class person being intelligent simply because of the job that they have. This woman...
Yep. That's AOC herself speaking this week about just what the Republicans actually think of us these days, right? And it is true. They don't care, okay? They look down. It is an oligarchy. I'm not supposed to use that word. It's fancy, but the elites are really in charge this time. Donald Trump got his billions or millions from his crypto meme coin. You've got Elon Musk running amok across our government, doing whatever they want. They're implementing Project 2025. Trump is nothing but an auto pen himself. Contrary to what he wants to say about Joe Biden, he's a living auto pen. I mean, if you've just watched him sign these EOs that he in the first few days, he had never seen them before. He's never seen any of this stuff before. We are nothing but impediments to their future. And more, we have to recognize that the only way we fight back is fight together. I'll give you an example. Here's Trump. Okay, here's Trump and his auto pen life just yesterday.
But I believe we'll get it done. Today we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it. And everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right. And I hope they're going to be voting for it because ultimately it may come before them. But everybody knows it's right.
Okay. No, they don't. I mean, who do we have to prove? I mean, here's one way. Fox News.
Voters oppose President Trump's efforts to reduce the number of government employees, changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and ranking near the bottom in support. His campaign promised to close the Department of Education. Well, today...
Yeah, everybody knows we need to close the Department of Education. No, they don't, but they don't care. This was in Project 2025. It's the goal to privatize our education completely. They've been on a mission for 30 years to destroy public education. That's all this asshole's doing, is sign the piece of paper for his idiot mentors, the people paying his way. And we are just in the way. So how about if we actually get more in the way? How about if we actually become an impediment? And the best way to do that, we run for office. We support those running for office. We win elections, both locally, county, state, national. And all that's coming forward is 2025. 31 states have local and statewide elections. And of course, probably one of the most historic and important midterm elections we've probably ever faced. And we say that every election, but boy, is this one important based on the fact that Congress has decided to forego their entire job under Article 1 of the Constitution. So let's talk about how that happens. As you guys know, I always want to come to you and say, hey, here's something you can do. Well, guess what? This week, once again, I got a guy to tell you, here's what you can do. So let's get on with the show. I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy with FP Wellman, right here, exclusive to the MeidasTouch Network and our Substack. Let's get on with the show. Welcome. It's a Friday night on the MeidasTouch Network. I am Fred Wellman, host of On Amongst the FP Wellman, which I told you 30 seconds ago. We do this every week. I always repeat it. I don't know why. Anyway, it's great to have you guys here. Obviously, a crazy time in America, which is what I say to you every week, of course, but it is a crazy time in America. You saw AOC really telling it like it is about where what the Republicans really do think of us, of average working people, even as they dismantle the things that support the people that we are. Department of Education is not even popular, these things. So I thought it was the perfect time to actually talk about, because every week we hear from you guys that you're frustrated. Like, I want to do something. What do I do? What do I do? So if you can watch the show regularly, I'm always trying to find ways for you to get involved. And one of those ways is to really get involved, but learning how. So I'm thrilled to have, I'd like to call him my friend Kelly Dietrich. He's the founder and CEO of the National Democratic Training Committee, which is a very cool organization you're about to learn a lot about. So with that, I want to welcome Kelly. Kelly, welcome to the show, man. Great to have you here on Democracy.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it and excited to tell you all about it.
I can't wait. So obviously fellow Midwesterner, you're from St. Louis like me. Now he's up in Chicago. I showed you the video at the beginning there of AOC talking about how Alina Habba, is smearing her for being a bartender, right? Serving drinks like a peon, and we know we've got a government oligarchy right now. We're looking at the dismantling of our government. I mean, what an insane moment we face, isn't it? I mean, you've been in politics a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days. I've never seen anything like this, but we've all known it's coming, right? The right has created a monster it can no longer control. It started with Fox News, right? And now we have Donald Trump and MAGA that's taken it over, telling, you can't believe regular news. You can't believe, you can trust me or your lying eyes, right? And it's not okay. We need to be taking our country back.
Yep, and that's the story of all of it right now. So I guess we'll start right. You got this National Democratic Training Committee.
Yeah.
On that note, who the hell are you and what the hell do you do?
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell do you do? Anyway, what are you doing here?
That's fair. All right, so look, here's why I'm here. Is because Democrats all over, including myself, are pissed as hell.
Okay.
Angry, we're scared, frustrated. This is our time, our moment. We need to start channeling our energy into taking our country back. And to do that, the National Democratic Training Committee is the organization I founded about 9 years ago to lower the barrier of entry so that when this moment happens, it is as easy as possible to learn how to make a difference. Do you want to run for office? Great. We can show you how. Do you want to work on a campaign or be a volunteer? Awesome. Come on in. We'll show you how to get involved. Can you help us recruit people to run for office? Now, National Democratic Training Committee is not part of the DNC. We're completely both separate. Key, right? We have an official sounding name. We are in our own entity. We help any Democrat anywhere in the country who wants to step up and make a difference. We don't do endorsements. We don't pick and choose. The idea is that a rising tide lifts all boats. You and I we're from St. Louis, right? It's a red area. Yeah, a little. I learned campaigning and work campaigns in really red areas, Kansas, Missouri, throughout the Midwest, on the South Carolina, Colorado before it became blue, all over the country. And I realized it was nobody's job to help every Democrat. Yeah. We all think someone else is doing it.
Right.
This is not the DNC's job. The state parties are expected to be doing 7-figure work with 6-figure budgets if they're lucky, right? Yep. So rather than ask permission, it's better to ask forgiveness. Started the National Democratic Training Committee with the idea that it should be free and easy for anyone to get involved and avoid making the same mistakes that others have made, right? Why can't we tell you how to get started and give you the best practices? So you can come to traindemocrats.org. You can take a course on, I think I want to run for office, or I'm ready to go, or what do I do on election night? Everything's free.
All right. Good interview. Talk to you later. No, anyway, as I talk to folks, because, I'm a campaign consultant too. And in my other jobs, I have many jobs, pick a hat on a given day. Consistently, I hear the barriers to entry, right? It is always Like right now, I guarantee you, as we're sitting here, there's probably somebody sitting in a really red district or even a blue district, frankly, these days. Their congressman is running unopposed. They're saying, somebody needs to step up. And what are the typical excuses you hear for that person? I mean, what's that? What are the barriers to entry as you see it?
So,
I know what they are, but I'm throwing it to you.
there are usually there are a lot, right? But there are three, and they're all having these thoughts is perfectly legitimate, right?
Yeah.
Because when you run for office, it's a big decision. Usually one of the biggest decisions of your life.
Yeah.
When people have thought about it, it may be a life goal, right? This is a big dream they may have, or they're taking a risk putting themselves out there. And so always try to be cognizant of the fact that this is critically important in some of the biggest decisions a candidate makes. So we often hear that, I can't raise the money. I don't know rich people.
Right.
We can work
Right.
through it. We can work through that, right? Do you
Okay.
hear, I don't know. I don't know anyone in politics. I wouldn't know how to run. Well, that's why we exist now. That excuse is gone. It is over. If you want to run for city council, school board, or Congress, it doesn't matter. We can help you for free. If you don't want to run, find someone who does and ask them.
Yeah.
Right. The third excuse besides money and not knowing people is that I won't win. Right? I'm in a really red area. I'm in a district that's never elected a Democrat. And to that, I say it's even more important that we have people run. Because if we're going to create long-term change, if we're going to take areas from red to blue, if we're going to win in the suburban and rural areas, that second district of Missouri that we're both from, we may have to
Sitting in it now.
right? Yeah, we had to get knocked down a few times. But you know what? We need people to be the face of the party, willing to go door to door, willing to talk to voters and build relationships in those communities so that others can stand on their back and keep going, right? You don't create change overnight, but we need to start today.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny going back to that question I asked, which is I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to run for Congress, right? Well, there's 31 states holding local and state level elections this year, right? In 2025, like right now. Here in Missouri, we've got local elections April 1st, for God's sake. I mean, it's coming up. We're not alone in that. I know Oklahoma, I can rattle them off.
There's more than 100,000 seats up
There you go.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot to learn there. I mean, do you tell your candidates in your training, like, you don't have to run for Congress. Start local, learn governing. I mean, we give an example. I just gave an example the other day. Ruben Gallego, I think, started off, I want to say it was a state rep and then a congressional rep. And then now he's a senator. I could rattle off a dozen more, started off as city council members or mayors. Do you tell folks that? I mean, it's a different kind of race, isn't it? But that's a great place to start, right? I mean, they should start there, shouldn't it?
No, we encourage people. A lot of people only think about the federal level.
Right.
Which is fine, which is good.
What we talk about
But
here,
here,
right? I mean, yeah.
If you want to run for Congress, great, good for you. I don't know why you want that job, but please go ahead.
I don't know.
But there,
you want to be colleagues with Margie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert? I mean, what a dream come true.
And there are more than 15,000 state elected offices in this country. There's more than 500,000 local offices. So mayor, city council, school board, county boards, those have real power and influence on our day-to-day lives. And we need more people running in those areas. And I was just at an event, the Attorney General of Illinois, Kwame Raoul, who's a great guy, was talking about his experience in getting started and running. He lost 3 times before he won his state Senate seat. Right?
Yep.
Losing is not bad, right? Winning is fantastic. It's wonderful.
We like winning, yeah.
But if you're running in an area that's a tough area, right? That's okay. Take a cycle, build name recognition, right? If you're running in a swing state or a state that has a larger race, statewide race on the ballot, and you can improve the number of Democrats who turn out, right? The Democratic performance is what we call it. If you can improve turnout by a couple of points, man, that's really valuable. Right? How do we build on that year after year? So
Yeah, it's my friend Jess Piper talks about a lot. Is when you live in like a red state like Missouri, and your local electeds, Republicans especially, running unopposed, you're forcing Democrats who could vote. They're forcing them to pick the worst, the best Republican. And there's value in having a choice and building that experience and all. And I'm a big believer in that experience too. And it also builds experience for the local level places like here, and not just candidates, right? I mean, because you guys do training for staff too. Because one of the things I talk about a lot here in Missouri, where I actually work some organizations doing infrastructure building, which is those offices and those So if you run for a race in a red state, you're going to have a young campaign manager maybe who learns too, right? But you guys have training not just for candidates but staff too, right?
We do.
Okay.
So
What does that look like?
the infrastructure is always the sexiest part of campaigning in our.
Yeah, I know. But you got to talk about, because that's how we win, right? Is the trained people.
Yes. I was telling someone, I'm like, we are kind of, there's that great quote that logistics wins wars, right? And we're kind of logistics.
I'm an old soldier
For the party, right? Yes. Like, how do you get from point A to point B? So yes, we train candidates on how to run. We also train staff on how to run campaigns, right? Because we understand. Let me paint a picture of the problem for you. Is that we know that there are already 537 federal offices that are up for election, right? 435 of them in the House, right, are all going to be up in 2026.
Yep.
Got, like, I don't know, 982 governor's races. Every time I turn around, there's another governor's race.
Yeah.
That's happening. They're going to attract a lot of talent. And I will tell you right now that there is not enough experienced campaign managers, finance directors,
Right.
digital directors, whatever have you, to fill all of those roles. We haven't even touched on the state ledge, the city council, etc. So what we saw is that people, and this is how I got my start in politics, is campaigns need people. There are not enough experienced people. So they go find a talented but inexperienced individual who will come work on the campaign, right? Young, idealistic, naive, meek.
I had a guy, a good friend ran over in Illinois just a couple cycles ago, and his campaign manager was this really nice stay-at-home mom from down the street. It's like
Totally committed. So
yeah,
how do we meet people where they are, just as we are with candidates, right? We have all our courses are all on demand. You can go to work, come home, have dinner with the family, put the kids to sleep, and pick an iPad, and in 40 minutes understand, I understand what a vote goal is and how to figure mine out, most importantly, right? Here's a
right.
Well, we're doing the same for staff. Congratulations. You are now the campaign manager for this race. Your budget is probably $0. How do you do this? So we have trainings on how to run a campaign, again, top to bottom. And it includes not only the hard skills of building a campaign plan, figuring out votes, how to raise money, but also those management and leadership skills that you need in any career to succeed, but no one provides in the Democratic ecosphere. So how do you manage up to a candidate, right? Something I wish I had when I started. I was like 22, and I'm supposed to be, working and managing a candidate for Congress who was a 50-year-old, twice elected district attorney. I mean, he was an incredibly accomplished individual, and I'm supposed to be going, no, you need to do this, right? Like, how do you manage laterally? How do you recruit and manage volunteers? All of these skills that are incredibly important. And so we can help people who've been put into these positions to succeed.
Let me take a pause there for our sponsor. We have a great sponsor. I'm so proud to have Stopbox on the show today. So we'll just go. Let's talk to our sponsor. We'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm a veteran of the Army. I've grown up with weapons. I served carrying weapons. I've always supported my Second Amendment rights. And I was raised by a Marine himself. And one of the things, the first thing my dad taught me as a kid was properly securing your weapons if you have them in the home. I've got kids. I have grandkids. The last thing on earth I ever want to have is an unsecured weapon in the home where the wrong people can get their hands on it. But at the same time, I need to have access on it for personal defense and security, which is one of the reasons most of us have weapons. That's our right. Stopbox Pro is 100% mechanical, so there's no batteries. You just have a key code and it opens the box right up. It's safe. It's easy. There's no doubt you can get to your weapon if you need it in a hurry, but that it's also secured safely. And you'll be surprised just how incredibly well made they are and durable. A high quality American made product right here in the USA that can help you keep your family safe in every way, both to have your weapon if you need it in the worst case scenario. But on top of that, even more importantly, make sure the wrong people cannot get their hands on a weapon unsecured. I'm a huge fan of StopBox. They're all made right here. They have their own facility to make all these products right in the United States with meaningful, good work for Americans, producing an important product to keep our families safe. Now, for a limited time only, our listeners are getting a crazy deal from StopBox. Not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use code FRED10, that's FRED10 at 110 at StopBoxUSA.com. They're also giving you a buy one, get one free for their StopBox Pro. So that's 10% off and a free StopBox Pro when you use code FRED10 at StopBoxUSA.com. So discover a better way to balance security and readiness with StopBox. Thanks for being a sponsor of the show.
And we're right back. So Kelly, so there's a lot of room to go. I mean, there's so much frustration right now at the Democratic Party at 27%. We keep talking about we face the biggest midterms. You and I already talked about 2025 being an election year. What do you think Democrats need to do differently? Right? We've talked about what do they need to do differently to win elections today? You think? I mean, what can the party do now as we face these historic races at every level?
How much time do we have?
No small question. Oh, good. It's a podcast. Go. I'll get a drink.
I'm gonna get mine real quick. Look, there are some. We can't enumerate all the things, but there are some things that are within control of of Democrats and candidates, right? That are not just what's the national mood, right? Or who's controlling what algorithm. I don't want to get into those. Here are things that you can control.
Okay.
What we have seen is that people want leaders, right? We're Democrats. We traditionally bring white papers and statistics to a gunfight.
It's our number one complaint with candidates.
Yes, but no, you don't understand that we need to be all about climate change. If we reduce carbon emissions by 1.5% over the next 7 years, man, if common sense and logic ruled the world and convinced voters, we'd be in a totally different reality than the one we're in. So what we try to do, and what I would encourage anyone here, is be bold. Learn from our opponents in what they do, right? They're not making arguments based on common sense and logic. They're using emotion. They're telling stories. So do the same. Now, you don't have to use fear, hate, divisiveness, but give a vision. You can't just be anti-Trump. When you run for office and you don't have an R behind your name, when you have a D or an independent or whatever, everyone knows you are not a Donald Trump fan.
Right.
We need to present a vision for people. We need to give them hope, and we need to be a leader. And what I mean by that is, look, I am pro-choice. If I were running for office, and I'm not, but if I were running for office, and what I've recommended to candidates and try to teach them is listen, if you're running because you want everyone to like you, find a different line of work. You're automatically going to have 42% of the people, if you're lucky, who don't agree. Yeah. So if someone says, well, I can't vote for you because you're pro-choice. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry we disagree. This is what I believe. I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to be all things to all people. Explain your vision, right? Stand up for that vision and inspire others. That's what we all want, right? Is we want people to stand up to the ridiculousness that's currently happening.
Yeah. And stand for something. It's funny. I talked to so many, I've helped a number of candidates, and I advise a lot of local races. And you're right. It's always frustrating. I always get mad. The candidate comes, he's got his list of policies, and and they get out there and they read, here's the 9 things I'm going to do. I'm like, okay. And I always tell them the same thing. And it's because I'm an old storyteller. That's what I do for a living. And it says, I always tell them, everybody is, people won't remember what you said, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. Yes. And that is the thing about, you say what you will about Donald Trump, and I every time I say people get mad, it's like, he's actually charismatic to the people who love him. He's actually humorous to the people who love evil humor. And, but it's true. And they heal something. And AOC's effective if you look at that talk because she rouses them. So they have emotions. I don't remember what she said in that 2-minute clip, but I remember thinking, yeah, what she said, right? And I had Greg Landsman on the show after the election. Yeah, and he said I went everywhere and I stuck to my guns, and I think people also respect that today. Pivoting off what you said is, yeah, they may not agree with your stance on abortion or whatever or tech, but a lot of people really do respect that you stand for something and you don't waver on it, right?
Right. Yes.
Yep.
How do you connect it directly to their situation? It's not about you, the candidate. It's about them, the voter, right? So how do and that's why I think, look, I wouldn't buy a used car from Donald Trump, but people connect with him, right? AOC the same way because you're like, oh, she gets it. She understands me, right? Because she connects it back to your experience. And that's what we need more candidates and messengers and leaders to do. And then take that energy and tell me what can I do to I bought into the change. How do I make the change happen? How do I help you make the change happen?
And then do it. Who did I have on the other day? I had my brain, it's broken, but talked about the governor of Wisconsin and with Tony Evers who ran, right? And Tony ran on, I'm going to fix the roads. And then he won by about 1 point.
Right.
And then he fixed the roads. And this is the same thing I tell people too. And it also goes in your right. And yeah, exactly. When you campaign though, when you campaign again, if you lose or win, that second time you go everywhere. And that was the key in that conversation was he went to every county in the state and said, here's how I fix the roads in your county. And he's told them. And so he made it real. So I don't think we do that enough. Do we? We say what we do. And then after we say we did it, we talk about how we did it too. Right.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right on that. And that is one of the most common mistakes we see with people who do get elected and things that we try to reinforce is don't stop communicating with the people who brought you, right? Just because you won, you don't want to leave that whole electorate just in the dark because you think, oh, they'll follow my official stuff.
They'll hear about it. Right. They'll just hear about it naturally.
Yeah. That's not going to happen. We have to be explicit about the implicit, right? Just tell them directly. You see this again. Trump is sending 138 emails a day to his base, feeding them all of this red meat, right? We should be doing the same to ours. So when you run, after you run, when you're an incumbent, keep talking and growing that base and use it to help others, right? Yeah.
Yep. All right. So last couple questions. So I'm sitting at home. I'm in that red district. I'm mad. What's the first thing I should do? I'm sitting there watching the show saying, you know what? Screw it. I want to help somebody run. I want to run. What's the first thing they should do? I know the answer.
What's your answer? Hang on.
They should go right here. TrainDemocrats.org.
Come to
I promise not to be softball in your interviews, but what the hell?
Amazing. Thank you for the softball. Yeah, look, come to the site. Come to TrainDemocrats.org. We have if you're thinking about running, we have a course called So You Think You Want to Run for Office. It's going to talk about not only what it means for you to run, what's it mean for your family? What's it mean for the people around you? How much time does it take? What are the expectations, right? And it'll walk you through all of this. And at the end, if you want to run, great. We've got some steps. If you still want to think about it or it's not for you, great. We can show you how to stay involved, right? We have a 30-day challenge. If this is something you're thinking about for the future, sign up and every day we'll send you one email. And that email will give you one thing to think about or do to help you make this decision over time, right? We want to make certain this is as easy as possible for people to get involved. So come to the site. We can take you from there. We want to hear from people. You can, hit us up on social @TrainDems. You can join our Facebook group. I mean, we're everywhere. I know Facebook is a whole thing, but that's where people are.
People are there, yeah.
People are there, right? So, we're trying to make it as easy as possible.
And this is the time, right? This is when people are thinking about it. We're seeing this moment. You see the anger rising. Also, I've seen so many people on LinkedIn and other words like, man, I just got fired by these bastards. I'm going to run for Congress or something. I mean, this is really this is the moment for you to go and say, this is what it means. I think a lot of people go into it not really understanding. It is hard. It's hard on your family. It's a big decision to make, but one that is patriotic and serving your country or your community in unique ways. So, all right, well, Kelly, thanks, man. This is great. I really appreciate the information. So
No, I appreciate you having me on. The more Democrats we can reach, the more independence that we can reach. Um, everybody has that imposter syndrome. Oh, I can't do it. Yes, you can. If you think you can't do it, just look at the fools that they're electing on the other side.
You beat me to it.
Exactly. And we want you to do it. This is me asking you to do it or find someone to do it, because we need you. Future of the country's at stake.
I love it. That's a great place to end. Thanks for joining me, my friend. I appreciate you. And, keep up the good work and try to stay out of trouble for a minute, okay?
No promises.
Well, all right. Hold on. Kelly, and look, we want you guys to understand that you don't have to sit on the sidelines, that there are means. And this is why I keep saying it. That's why I love Kelly, what the work is. Again and again, I talk to folks that say, Fred, I don't know how to raise money. I don't know how to run a campaign. And there is free tool. Literally everything Kelly just described in that interview is free to you online at your own time. So I'm gonna put that link back up again. It's traindemocrats.org. Great organization, completely free. They work with the groups you've heard of, Run for Something, who we've had on the show before, a number of organizations. It's just a terrific place to start. And I love the idea. There's a course that says, so you want to run for office, here's what it's all about. And look, you can start city council, board of education, start local, learn how politics works, learn how your community works. It'll make you so much better if you decide to keep going later. So, and it's never too late. There's never too late. When you got Virginia Fox out of North Carolina, who's 80 million years old. I don't know. I think she hung out with like Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think she is one. And so anybody can run. It's never too late. It's never too early. So check it out. We really, it's just really a great guest and a great conversation. As always, check out our On Democracy channel on YouTube, and we're growing our Substack. We're now running these shows on Substack as well. We're running our Sunday show, On Democracy Sunday, every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We got another great show this week. We got some really cool guests. You're going to really enjoy it. I promise, have a few laughs. Get some nostalgia. We've got a wonderful, the guitarist from Styx is joining us for our panel. I mean, it's gonna be fun. So check that out. That's the On Democracy channel on YouTube, and of course the FPL and Substack. As always, thank you to the Midas Mighty for joining us. We are in the fight, folks. We're all in this together. We can do this if we work together and fight for our democracy. And I think we can. And I think with our participation in any level, be it volunteering, be it showing up at protest, be it running for office, we can make that difference together, because that's how we're going to win. When we fight together, we're going to beat these guys and beat it back. With that, I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy. We'll see you next week.